Chapter 2. A new girl. At 4 o'clock, Samantha stood outside the parlor doors looking like new. It was time for her hour with Grandmary. Samantha's hair was combed, her ribbon was perfect, her skirt hung straight, and her stockings were repaired. She knocked softly on the door, then slipped through and made a quick curtsy to her grandmother. Samantha thought Grandmary looked like a queen, especially during their sewing hour. Grandmary sat up very straight. Her velvet chair looked like a throne with her silk gown flowing around it. Her white hair seemed made for a crown with never a strand out of place. Samantha always tried to be a young lady, but it was a lot easier to remember how when Grandmary was watching. Samantha noticed that everyone behaved more like a lady when Grandmary was around. Good afternoon, Samantha, said Grandmary. Good afternoon, Grandmary, Samantha squirmed ever so slightly. She didn't know how, but Grandmary always seemed to know when she had been into mischief. But today, Grandmary didn't ask questions. Instead, she smiled. Come sit down, my dear, Grandmary said. She handed a small basket to Samantha. You must try to work a little harder on your sampler. It's not going very quickly. Yes, Grandmary. Samantha took her seat on a chair next to her grandmother. She picked up her sampler and sighed a little. When it was finished, the sampler would read, "Actions speak louder than words." Grandmary had explained this saying. She said it meant that how people act is more important than what they say. Samantha tried to imagine the words sewn in pink silk thread. Around them would be flowers and fruits made of complicated stitches that would show off her sewing skills. But the skills were slow in coming. So far, the sampler read, actions, Samantha stuck her tongue between her lips as she concentrated on a hard stitch. She glanced sideways to see if her grandmother looked in a good mood. Grandmary, Samantha began. Yes, dear? Did you see the doll in Schofield shop? Samantha asked. Yes, dear, I did, answered Grandmary. Isn't she beautiful? Sighed Samantha. It's quite a nice doll, Grandmary said. Do you think I might have her? Samantha, that is an expensive doll, said Grandmary. It costs $6. If you're going to grow up to be a responsible young lady, you must understand the value of $1. I can earn the money to buy her, Grandmary. I can make boomerangs and sell them. The boys' handy book showed just how to do it. I could... Samantha, Grandmary was shocked. A lady does not earn money. Samantha had known there wasn't much hope, but she added very quietly, Cornelia says a woman should be able to earn money. She says women shouldn't have to depend on men for everything. She says, Cornelia has a great many newfangled notions, announced Grandmary. She should keep them to herself. Samantha turned back to her work with a sigh. I would have called the doll Lydia, she said softly. She looks like my mother. Grandmary was startled. Then her eyes softened. A moment later, she said, There are other ways, my dear, to reach your goals. Samantha looked up hopefully. Grandmary continued, If you do well at your tasks, you might earn the doll. If you practice your piano daily, oh, Grandmary, I will. Samantha was delighted. I'll practice an hour every day. I'll make my sampler beautiful. I'll help Mrs. Hawkins. I won't get my dress muddy. She was about to say she wouldn't tease Eddie Ryland, but she knew there were some promises she just couldn't keep. Oh, Grandmary, thank you. Samantha threw her arms around her grandmother's neck. There, my dear. We shall see, said Grandmary with a slight note of caution in her voice. We shall see how you do. Samantha worked hard on her sampler for half an hour. Then, from down the street, she heard a low rumble. Soon, There were great pops and bangs. As the noise grew louder, angry voices and the frightened whinnies of horses joined it. Samantha jumped up from her seat and ran to the window. "Oh, Grandmary, it's Uncle Guard! It's Uncle Guard and Cornelia!" Samantha called. Grandmary raised her eyes to the ceiling. "He's brought the dreadful automobile again. Whatever shall I tell the neighbors?" Samantha could hardly contain her excitement as the shiny black car jerked and sputtered to a stop in front of the house. Two people climbed out. They wore long coats that covered them from head to toe. Cornelia wore a hat tied down with a scarf, and Uncle Guard wore large goggles that made him look like an overgrown fly. They came up the walk laughing and beamed the dust from their hats and coats. The bell rang. A minute later, Hawkins appeared at the parlor door looking dignified. It seemed to Samantha that the more confusion there was, the more dignified Hawkins became. "Mr. Gardner and Miss Cornelia, madam," he said. "Very well, Hawkins. Show them in. And tell Elsa to bring tea," said Grandmary. "Oh, Grandmary, it's Uncle Guard. It's Uncle Guard and Cornelia," Samantha called. The couple burst into the room, bringing laughter and the smell of summer with them. "How are you, Mother? You look wonderful," said Uncle Guard. He gave Grandmary a big hug, and she couldn't help smiling. "Good afternoon, Gardner. Good afternoon, Cornelia," said Grandmary. "I am fine, thank you, Gardner. But I was a good deal better before you shattered the peace of the entire neighborhood with that horrible machine of yours. Why must you bring it here?" Uncle Guard's eyes were laughing. "Now, Mother, this is 1904. You've got to keep up with the times. Besides, he winked at Samantha. "How can I teach Sam to drive if I don't bring the automobile?" "Oh, Uncle Guard, will you really? Will you?" Samantha was popping with excitement. "Sure I will. Come on. I'll take you for a ride right now." "Indeed you won't," said Grandmary. "What can you be thinking of? Why, her clothes would be ruined." Samantha's face fell. Cornelia looked at her quickly and said, "It's all right. She can wear my duster. It's a little too big, but we'll make it fit. Won't we, Samantha?" As they walked into the hall to fix the coat, Samantha gave Cornelia a grateful smile. Minutes later, she headed down the walk, trailing the hem of the long coat behind her. Eddie Ryland had been sitting in the car, but he scampered down as Samantha and her uncle approached. Uncle Guard lifted Samantha up to the seat. "Hold tight, Sam, while I crank it up," he said. "You sure look dumb, Samantha," Eddie teased. He never stopped. Samantha wasn't listening. She held tight as Uncle Guard cranked and the car began to lurch. "Anyway, I know something you don't know," Eddie said loudly so Samantha could hear him as the car rumbled. Uncle Guard jumped into the seat next to Samantha and took hold of the steering wheel. The car began to bounce and sway into the middle of the road. "A girl's coming to live in our house. She's 9, just like you." Eddie hollered over the noise. "You're lying, Eddie Ryland," Samantha yelled and choked in the dust. "I am not. Her name's Nellie." Samantha didn't even try to answer. She was holding on for dear life at that most modern of inventions. The automobile bucked and rumbled its way toward town. Back at the front door, Grandmary shook her head. Just as she turned back to the parlor to join Cornelia for a cup of tea, she saw Jessie scurrying from the kitchen. There was something in her hand. "Jessie, what's the matter?" asked Grandmary. As Jessie hurried up the stairs, she called over her shoulder. "It's Pepper for the sewing room, ma'am. There's ants up there. Hundreds of ants."